All right, before we get started, a couple of things that are a little different with the show today, or with this particular show. Start off with I have disabled the YouTube chat. It is distraction. I need people to actually watch what they're looking at instead of fighting with each other about dildos in the freaking chat room. It's nothing a distraction and serves no purpose anyway. If you would like to chat, if you'd like to chat, you are welcome to go to our radio station's chat room. In which case, people can pass me messages. The discussion here is going to be the breakdown of this. Let's see it. So anyway, I uploaded the HD version that I got from the FBI website, which seems to be a little better as far as details. The first version that came out, there was just a lot of silhouettes with sticks. Like it looked like stick figures with guns. It was like it almost felt like I was watching one of those movies where, you know, they go to the battleground and all that kind of. Still not seeing any kind of dash cam footage or lapel footage, and we know by the arrest of an individual that a real nutbag of an individual in another town down the road that got arrested that they're all wearing lapel cams. If you focus down and clean on the and feel free, you know, please full screen this. If you focus down clean on these officers, many of them have helmet cams on as well. Now, this just looks like some kind of Afghani type operation. Which is what we're seeing in town now too. We just got done doing our first live stream with our reporter out there in Oregon. We'll have more tomorrow. She just got there today. She's still trying to get situated and all that stuff. We have funding for her for a couple of days. If you want to help fund her to be out there longer, she's willing to be out there as long as she can afford to be out there. So you can go to freedomslips.com and there's a button there for support. Just type in, all you have to do is there's like a notes to seller kind of thing in there. Just type in Oregon and I will divert those funds directly to supporting her being out there. Now, before we even get started, it's very clear that this was a setup because they already had drones in place, already had roadblocks in place, and they had already airdropped snipers and all kinds of people in place. Because as we get further down this video, I want you to remember, as we get further down this video, when they shoot Lavoy, you see no footprints coming from the road into the snow. So they had already dropped them. Personally, that they were going, I had heard initially, and I was completely wrong. I had heard initially, I was just going by reports. Yeah, because a lot of us are reporting on what somebody else says. We had heard by reports they were headed for a town meeting, but that's not what they were doing. They were actually headed to meet with the sheriff at Grant County. Now, of course, all these people are complicit, and I think the sheriff at Grant County was complicit into drawing them into the spider web in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of at night, because that's how our government works, is at night. They do things in the dark, and they do things in a way in which nobody can see. We still haven't seen video. There's video on 2 phones that were in the truck. We've heard lies and falsifications from the press releases. We heard the sheriff of Harney County actually say that, this was a takedown. Everybody knows what a takedown means. This is intention to put down. I've talked to a couple of law enforcement officers, one in which I will have on later, that also agrees that this was a takedown. And I've had several people that are non-conspiratorial people. And, you know, I'm here trying to do honest reporting the best I can. You know, I make mistakes. I get excited. I get upset. I get pissed off. You know, I go into full Tourette's lunacy, whatever. You know, take me how you will. But everybody I've talked to in law enforcement agrees with me as well, because they were already set up and ready for them. You can tell by the drone footage that this was already set up to go. I've heard some of the dumbest conspiracies I've ever heard in my life today, as if this was a setup because LaBoy was an agent. I mean, come on, give me a break. Go back through our videos and listen to our talks with LaBoy. Go back through our videos and you can see just hours before this went down, they talked to the FBI. Just hours. And the day before, there's another video when I did a situation update with LaBoy Fennica, when he talked about how they were getting ready to go meet with the Grant County Sheriff. So this is all set up, and I think I can't prove it. You know, how can we prove anything? The government is controlling the narrative. But you know, if you really look at this really tight and hard, it looks like Grant County was sheriff was complicit in setting them up for this takedown, because they were ready for them. This wasn't a standard checkpoint or a traffic stop, and the FBI doesn't do traffic stops. So let's get going. Let's take a look. All right, the first thing we see is the drone's already ready and already tracking them. They're just headed down the road. All I see right now is LaBoy's truck. I don't see anybody else in that vehicle. Or I don't see anybody else in that video other than LaBoy's truck. Somebody said there's a van behind him, which I think I got a glimpse of a couple of times, that Eamon Bundy was in. And of course, they're not going to shoot Eamon Bundy or Ryan Bundy, because that would have been immediate war. So, you know, LaBoy is the martyr to scare everybody, of course. So they were already ready for them. That's very clear. And at this point in the video, we see that LaBoy has stopped. All right, he has stopped. He's going to the middle of the road. And the first vehicle we see, I don't know if that's a van. They got their flashers on. And I don't know if that's the van that Eamon was in or not. I don't know. I think it was, but there is blue and light. You know, the blue flashers behind LaBoy. We can't see that because of the tree. So as we continue to watch this, okay, so now we can see the red and blue flashers a little bit. Now we got blurry video that's getting a little better. And I'm going to assume that the other van, yeah, I thought the other van was Eamon Bundy and those guys, but it's not. Because you can see that whether it be federal or OSP, I don't know, I don't care. But you see three of them out and they have a dog. And you see two out over here, right here, on the other side, pointing at the vehicle. Where Eamon Bundy's van was at this time, I have no clue. But that McConnell guy, everything he said was a complete and total lie. Because he may have been able to see this, but we have no drone footage of anybody behind this. This is all we have seen. Oh, and by the way, this is the long form and unedited version of the raw footage. So it is about 30 minutes long. So, there'll be minutes when I have nothing to say. Okay, it looks like the drone has pulled back to the Jeep, and I guess that's where Eamon Bundy was. I don't see any cop cars on him right now yet, but we can't see because of the trees again. Now, again, the YouTube footage, I put the HD up on YouTube. You can go to freedomslips.com/drone footage and get the really good, clear version of this. I put this up on YouTube and it's not as clear as what I look at when I look at that video, but it's enough. Now you see this dude over here. See this dude over here pointing the gun. Right now that dude's kind of just standing still. I don't know what he's doing. I've had several people say that you're going to see a red up here. That's a truck with a cap. Several people say they were getting red dotted or lasered. Actually, that's the stoplight that is just behind the cab because it's got a cap on the truck. So that conspiracy theory. Because we want to try to get this right. And apparently CSI sucks. That the FBI said there was 6 rounds fired. We've already had way more than that. Brass policed out there, people checking it, and I'm still absolutely mortified that nobody has done something to cover up the blood in the snow. Just out of respect. All right, we're behind the trees again. They've done a rather incredible job of covering some of this up just by being behind the trees. There was no reason for them to be behind the trees at any time. They could have stayed right on top of the vehicle with the drone, unless the drone operator is a total freaking moron. Oh, and by the way, the people that were saying the date was off, that's Zulu time. On the original drone footage, all pilots use Zulu time. So, that's not even a conspiracy. So stop with that stupid shit. Again, that red dot is his stop light. That right there, that is not lasers pointed at his vehicle. He has a cap on his truck, as you can see, and that is his foot on the brake. That's why you're seeing that red dot. I got a little kind of confused at that at first myself when I first watched it. When you watch things the first time, you're only taking in the primary. You're not really looking. You're just looking at stuff going, are you freaking serious and whatnot? And I guess that's the Batmobile there. Appears to have fins on it. Batman. And they're still sitting there. This officer up here is pointing at the vehicle. Mouse to work right so I can point at stuff. There's an officer over here pointing at the vehicle. It appears they were giving commands. Yeah, I have a user at some point here. They could see, and I saw it in the HD cam footage that I don't think we're going to be able to see here on YouTube because the way I upload it. I just uploaded it and it degraded just in the upload compared to what I can see by using the raw footage. And that was when Ryan Payne hung out the window and they took two shots at the truck. And now we have a situation in which Lavoie goes, "Well, they're shooting at me now," and he had Ryan Payne and two females in the truck. They say Ryan Payne jumped out of the car. He did it because when this is all over, you'll see that they backed his ass out of that truck too. All right, so now they're shooting down the road at a rather high rate of speed. This already clearly proving that the McConnell report, the McConnell guy, his report was 100% bullshit and a lie, and I've already checked it out. He was FBI and he was implanted in there. How the hell he ended up being their driver, I don't know. All right, so now we're heading down roads, and he comes around a corner and at a high rate of speed. And I'm going to back up a second because this does need to be backed up. Give me a second. All right, so he comes around the corner at a high rate of speed. As you see here, and there's the roadblock. He sees it. You can see he's clearly starting to slow down when he comes around that corner, but there's no way to stop. Catches a strip because they had I don't know what spike strips across the road. And then you're gonna right here in a second, FBI says in their press conference that one of their FBI guys almost got hit by the car. Well, you're going to see here that the FBI guy jumped out in front of the vehicle. I mean, really? What kind of retard does that? Here we go. Little one step. See, there he goes. He runs out in front of the vehicle. He puts two in the windshield, which we'll see later. Two in the windshield. Lavoie tries to avoid him, but he's also now in the snow, and there's no way to control that vehicle. Now in the snow. And, oh, well, awesome. Isn't that awesome? We can't see exactly what happened now because, well, it's got a black strip on it. Clearly misses the guy, apparently. Then we have this, oh, now we're not looking at it anymore. Why the hell did the drone take their footage away when they were following that footage right up to that point? All right, so now they're going to go back to the footage. Who is that asshole in that car? All right, so now we have this guy, the dumbass that jumped out in front of the car. I mean, who trained that? Who trained that retard? Jump out in front of the car. All right, so he just got done taking his stem out looking for Patriot blood. And I'm doing this a little step at a time so you guys can really take in the surroundings here. All right, Lavoie jumps out of the car. You can clearly see his arms are up. Arms up, arms up, arms still up. He's giving himself up. According to Victoria, he was yelling, "There are women in the car. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. Don't shoot." I get my mouse to do this right. All right, we have a guy here approach. He's right here. We have no audio, so we don't know what commands they were given. That guy shoots, gets in. Right here. You see a recoil right there. He's hit him in the side. Lavoie reaches for his side where he got hit, which anybody would do. Now you see Jackboot Thug come out of the woods now, here, with his 308. See that? Shot one, hits him in the side again, and it looks like possibly the shoulder. I'm not sure. I don't know. I wasn't there, and we don't have audio to know anything about who fired when. The boy turns again. This guy has already shot right here. This guy. He shot once, caught him in the hip or in the side. Probably exactly where they wanted to catch him, because if you get caught with, say, a 223, that is not a hollow point bullet. What it does is it enters and exits, but it hurts like a son of a bitch. And it's hot, so you don't feel it quite exactly at first. It kind of feels like you got stung by a bee, in which your normal physical reaction is to actually grab the wound. So this guy right here shot him first in the side or the hip, making his hand go to his left side. Lavoy Finicum carried his firearm on his right. Even if he had a 9mm, he would not have it in his left pocket. It would have either been in his belt or in his right pocket, because he was right-handed. So already the FBI narrative is total bullshit. Right, so next, a few more seconds, that man shoots him in the back. This man right here, I'd like to know his name. I hope something really bad happens to him someday. Hopefully really soon. Even Viagra won't even help him. Another bullet, second bullet, when he's down. This man is still firing, actually, because we saw recoil. He backs off, back up into the trees. Now they're all backed off. He's down. Now here's the next thing that's crazy. All right, according to Victoria, they're all now on the floorboards, which I would be too. I'd be scared to death. I mean, this looks like something you would see on a thriller movie of something that would happen in freaking Afghanistan. I mean, why can't these people do this to terrorists, to actual terrorists in the United States? All right, so let's continue. All right, here's thug. Here's this thug. He's coming around. This guy's still running around like a retard, and now comes the crazy stuff. And of course, here we go. Here we go with the drone behind the trees again, so we can't see the entire thing. Rather convenient, huh? Okay, that first one was flashbang. All right, flashbang again. These guys suck at shooting because they didn't hit shit on that vehicle. They were shooting at the snow. I mean, come on, guys, really? All right, and now we start seeing a lot of extra fire. Oh, we're behind the trees again. Isn't that convenient? Yet again. In the meantime, Lavoy's up here, still moving, but alive. There we go. Okay, now we're getting bullets into the truck. We just saw bullets skipping off the snow. And remember when I said earlier that guy that jumped out in the truck put 2 into the windshield? See that right there? Can you see that? That's where it hit the windshield. They're still firing at that vehicle. Of course, they're conveniently in the trees where we can't see. I'd like to know who this drone pilot is. This dude's a dumbass. I'm an RC pilot myself, and at least I can keep my airplane Okay, there we go. Another bullet right there. See it right there? Did you see that hit? You can see where they got him with the front bullet. That's what caused Lavoie to jump out of the truck, because he knew if he didn't get out, because they wanted him dead, they would kill the women in the truck. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I see Ryan Payne backing out of the truck later, but that doesn't even matter. Those people were unimportant to them. All right, there's Jackboot 1 that fired the first shot. All right, now they're all back up there. We can't see them on camera right this second, but they're all up there, scared of the dead man. Oh wait, we've lost any reliable drone footage here for a second. Well, okay. Well, now it's back. Now we see everybody hiding behind their trucks from the dead guy. Oh, wait. Now we're behind the trees again. I gotta teach this dude how to fly a freaking drone. Now some of the rest of this is just aftermath kind of stuff, but I'm gonna run the whole thing. I don't want any of this edited, and I want everybody to see this. And I just hope where I'm putting my pointer, people can actually see and understand what I've been trying to say all day amongst all the trolls and the people trying to make up shit and conspiracy theories and all that kind of stuff, as if this was all a show that was purposely put on with crisis actors. I mean, give me a break. Somebody said he had a hoodie on or something. You know, you'll see here in a little while. You know, they went up to him and took his they went up and took his cream colored hat off and threw it off to the side. All right. It's getting hard for me to watch now, but Lavoie is no longer moving. And generally, in any of these situations, just in case an officer is shot, they always have EMS literally right up the street. EMS would have not been more than 1,500 yards up the road beyond this roadblock. So EMS is not coming in yet. And the sheriff I talked to earlier said, why did the cops set themselves up into their own crossfire, which I find interesting, because the snipers in the trees were shooting towards the cops on the ground. I mean, that is just textbook bullshit. And we can't say anything for the trees again. Oh my God. Somebody get me the guy that's flying this drone. Could you give me his name so I can just go kind of slap him upside the head? Or give him some lessons or something. All right, so car door comes open. And remember, they're in 4 foot of snow. It's not easy to walk in 4 foot of snow, especially when somebody shoots you and you reach for that wound, even if it was a beanbag. Remember, in America at this point, or pretty much anywhere in the world, you know, if you don't comply, you will die. And that's just the status quo at this point that people seem to be okay to live with. I have no idea. I'm glad I'm not hammered right now, or I'd just go into full Tourette's at this point. Again, with the drone pilot that how to fly his damn truck. All right, there you go. A group of 4 scared guys, scared of 2 women and a dead guy in the snow. And LaVoy was a friend of mine. I've talked to him every day for the last 2 weeks. I've never met the man, but that man had not that. I don't think that man had a bad bone in his body, no matter what anybody says. Oh, and if you want to chat about this, you can go to my chat room at freedomslips.com/new chat. Because I have the chat turned off in our own chat in the YouTube chat because I really wanted you to see this and not be distracted by the children in the chat room. Of course, they always whine on about freedom of speech, but All right, still have LaVoy here. He stopped moving, so you know what that means. We still have the boys hiding from the girls behind the truck over here. And if Ryan Payne was not in that truck, which it said that Ryan Payne jumped out. If Ryan Payne was not in that truck, there was nothing. There was only 2 women in this truck. All right, so here comes out 1. Politically, she is not a useful person to kill, so that's probably why she didn't get killed. And I know Ryan Bundy was in the truck as well. He got shot in the arm in the barrage of bullets that went in. FBI, again, as I said they shot 6 bullets. We've already had people out there that have collected over 30 shells already because they didn't police their brass. And people out there right now with metal detectors getting the rest of them. The narrative is just complete and total BS. Oh, here we go with boy can't fly drone. Why is this guy going in circles? I still don't understand why he's going in circles. And he keeps getting behind the trees. Yeah, the scenery is beautiful, drone boy, but why are we not seeing what's actually going on? I think there's a purpose for that. And if you go look at the HD footage, like I said, freedomslips.com/drone footage. You can download the HD version just to look at it yourself. And if you look at that, you'll see a couple of shots to LaVoy after he's already on the ground, and then they had laser dots on him for minutes after he was dead. Oh wait, that's a mistake. I didn't even know. I do this a lot. I make a lot of dumb mistakes. Get excited and forget. Seriously? There you go. There's the actual link to our own chat room. So if you want to go be a troll, go over there and give it a try. All I can do is watch, just like you guys, as we get into this. I'm sure you guys have seen this over and over again. I'm just pointing out some things that people have been pointing out to me all day. So I'm just sharing all of this stuff. With, you know, with the dialogue on this. You know, right now we're just kind of watching them backing people off up and out of that vehicle. No reason to make those people political martyrs because it really wouldn't scare anybody. It would just create outrage. That would have worked badly politically for them. All right, so now they're back on them. Somebody said LaBoy didn't have his hat on. He had a hood on. There's his hat right there. Right there. So there's your other conspiracy theory gone. Retard. Saying that stuff. And wearing a hoodie. Right. We saw him take his hat off and toss it to the side, and there it is right there. You know, I could swear to God, quite on. I'm not sure. I won't verify it, but it seems like they kicked him when they pulled that hat off. They took his hat and they tossed it away, and it seemed like they kicked him a couple of times to make sure he was dead. But I might be wrong. It just could be me being upset and excited and irritated and annoyed about this whole thing. I mean, this is the country you live in now here in the United States, folks. Don't comply, you die. You know, even these officers are having a hard time walking around in that snow because it's freaking knee deep. And I do hope everybody noticed that these guys were airdropped into those trees because there were no footprints until the boy got out of that truck up into those trees. And you're going to see in a minute a lot more come down out of the trees. And there was a white vehicle uprange, which you'll see in a few minutes or a minute or whatever. Or you may have already seen it. I had to step away from the computer for a second to go answer a question. That was already uprange and took their shot as well. And yes, I know in the title I misspelled Finicum. I'll fix that on the render. Sorry. I suck at typing. Never said I didn't. All right, at this point, it appears they have everybody over here. You can see by the back of the vehicle, all the windows have been either broken or shot out. I'll have pictures of that vehicle later. So we can verify just how many lies were told by the FBI about that. Because FBI said six shots fired, and nobody with eyeballs could possibly think that 6 shots fired. And then the drone goes somewhere else. I don't know what the drone's doing now. Apparently, Drone Boy is going for a joyride or something. I don't know what he. All right, so that's the gist of that. That's the whole video. And you can go to freedomslips.com/drone footage and download the HD version, which is way more detailed. Yeah, I put this up on YouTube in HD, and it just was not working in HD. I'm not seeing HD. I don't think anybody else is seeing. This looks. I just checked quality audio, auto 360. Yeah, it wouldn't let me put it up in anything better than 360, which is not HD, but yet the original video is HD. So, all of that being said, and all that being seen, and you're welcome to email me. Go over to our website, freedomslips.com. Send me an email if you saw something I didn't see. You know, no matter how, every time I watch this, I see something I didn't see the first time. You know, nobody's infallible. In the meantime, I'm going to try to give somebody a call. May still be at work, so or not, I do not know, and I promise I'm going to get an answer. Just kind of stand by for a second.
Hello.
Hey, Danny, how you doing? You got time to talk? This is Nighthawk.
Yep, I got time.
All right. Yeah, I just got done doing my video analysis, and which was included with some stuff that other people had saw and sent me emails, and I went through the whole thing. For people that don't know, this is Denny Pyman. He is a. How many years were you in law enforcement?
I first went to the academy in 1984, where I was a police officer. Then went in as stayed with it, became the chief of police. So retired from that. Moved to Kentucky, was elected sheriff, and I did a term here.
All right, so there you go. So we're talking to a law enforcement officer that understands how all this works. So, and you have seen the video and all that. I mean, give us your opinion and your breakdown on what you think you see, without me saying anything.
Okay, going back to some of the interviews of people that were there, some of the eyewitnesses, so we say. I've heard two of the people that were there and the statements that they gave. The young lady that gave her statement was probably the most realistic. By looking at the video, you know, they made the traffic stop, and they sat there for that period of time, 3 minutes and something. But one thing that nobody has brought up yet, and nobody said anything about, is if you look at the passenger side of the vehicle, Mr. Bundy, at that point, you know, she was saying that he stuck his hands out the window, stuck his head out the window, and was trying to communicate with the officer's commands, and that there were shots fired at that point. You'll see at that point, and if you'll watch just his side of the vehicle on the passenger side, all of a sudden his arms come back in, his head goes back in, and she said that he got down on the floorboard. Why would a guy get down on the floorboard unless they were, you know, they're taking on fire? That's when Lavoie took off driving, is because they had somebody had fired at them. At that point, nobody had been hit yet, but they took off, driving. Obviously, I don't know, looking if I was a defense lawyer, they pushed them into a position of either having to defend themselves or having to flee. And survival, you're going to do one or the other. And they chose to flee. The roadblock was set up around a curve, so they were obviously thinking that they were on the run, that they were, who knows, seeking safety or seeking a place. We don't know. But when they came around the corner, that's when they had the setup there. The car, the boy went off to the right-hand side. And see that all the statements that she made is that what they were saying, we have some females in the vehicle. When he got out, as soon as he hit the snow, he didn't sit there and wait for commands. He didn't sit, because he'd already heard the commands. He knew what the commands were. He jumped out, and one of the words that she said, because as soon as he jumped out, and everybody could see how fast he hit the snow, how deep it was, and he came out with his hands up. As he wandered through the snow, his hands came down a couple of times, not very far down, because he was struggling walking in the snow. When he turned, he didn't know the guy was up on the left, that was up in the woods. He didn't know that guy was there. When he turned to face the guy that was giving the commands, you saw him, reach down. They said to his waistband, or was he clutching his side from, maybe being hit with a beanbag? That was a question that somebody brought to me. Did they hit him with a beanbag, which caused him to bring his hands down? As he turned, the guy in the back who came from the left was giving commands at that point, because he turned to recognize, to look to see who was addressing him over his shoulder. He turned over his shoulder, and when he turned that way is when he took the shot. But was he, at that point, was he reaching for a gun? I don't know. I wasn't there. Had he been hit with a beanbag, and that's what brought his hands down? Very likely. Nobody ever did go back over to him. It was obviously a good hit, or they would have thought that, if he had a weapon, why wasn't somebody over there securing that weapon? They should have went to it, got the weapon away from him if he was still, maybe he was not conscious, or maybe became conscious, and he's still a threat. At that point, they must not have thought that he was a threat, because nobody ever did approach him to remove the harm. He had become a non-threat when he went off the road and raised his hands up. They also said that he tried to hit the officer. That's not true either. That officer was in a bad position, thought they were going to take impact when they hit the vehicle. He was just getting out of the way. He ran the same direction as the boy went. It was not planned. He was just they were both just in the same place at the same time. But there's going to have to be a lot more information come out. There's going to have to be, people are all going to make their judgment saying,
right. Hey, Denny, real quick. Now I'm gonna break my promise, but I did notice that when they came around with the drone, you can see where that officer that jumped in front of them had taken a shot and hit the windshield, because you can see the impact point on the windshield. I circled it in the video that we're working on right now.
Yes, that officer at that point, see, he could justifiably take that shot, because he could say, that he was coming to him, in a form of a threat.
Right.
He could justify that shot.
Well, yeah, I understand that. I mean, maybe it was a justifiable shot, but I mean, in your training, does it seem logical to throw yourself in front of a speeding vehicle and start shooting? Because it was a really heavy truck in the snow.
No, he was definitely out to take the shot.
Right.
He was headed in that direction. It's obvious. Even when it hit the bank and was coming, I don't know if he was getting out of the way at first, but then saw the direction and was moving towards the vehicle to get that shot. But where they had the guy like up in the woods, these guys were sitting up there for a reason. They weren't just everybody get you a good spot. They were
Yeah,
placed strategically where they needed to be.
yeah, they definitely were already ready, and they had to have been airdropped in because I've looked at that video over and over again and everything. There are no footprints going up into the woods at all.
And the girl, when she made her statement, she was saying they were taking on fire. She said the people were even up in the trees.
Yeah,
I don't know if you got to hear her statement, but up in the trees, she meant up in the tree, up in the woods. That they were all over the place.
yeah.
And some people were saying, and with her account, they shot over 100 rounds.
Right. Yeah, I've actually, as I said, people have already been out there. Apparently, their own CSI sucks, and the FBI said they shot 6 rounds total, which is kind of clear by the video. It was way more than that anyway. But people have already that have been gone up there have collected multiple rounds from 308s to 223 rounds.
Right. Your 308s would be your sniper rounds that would come up in the woods.
Right.
And your 223 would be the people that were right there, face to face with him.
Yeah, in front. And we're going to have to wait until his wife decides if and when she will release the private autopsy report to know for sure. But, because we can all just kind of look at stuff and go, this is what I think. I try not to do that the best I can. And try not to have too many Tourette's outbursts. But, this just all looks like, to me, that video being released, there's a whole bunch of that. It looks like damage control to a certain respect. And whoever was flying that drone needs some lessons.
Right.
Because I don't know if you noticed, but a whole lot of it was scenery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the distance from the original takedown to the roadblock, I don't know the distance. I don't know the speed because he's traveling fairly quick. He was in the middle of the road because of the road conditions. They probably, there's a lot of snow. We don't know if it was icy or not. I don't know. The roads can be dry or icy in that situation. But he was obviously in a hurry to get out of there. Did you notice on the original stop to look at the passenger side, because she made the statement that they did stick their hands and stuff out? You can see that he stuck his hands and his head out.
Oh yeah, and that's when they shot. Because I had somebody that looked at the HD footage that I released. FBI released it first. I grabbed it before it disappeared because the HD footage is way more detailed. I gave you the link. I sent you an email with the link. It's way more detailed. It's less silhouette-y, because YouTube, I uploaded that in 1080, and the way it's being presented on YouTube is at 360. And the HD footage is way better. And I had somebody email me and they gave me a timestamp and I looked at it and I'm like, you really can see 2 sparks of something hitting the top of that truck when they took off. And, the FBI in the press conference, they said they had the one aircraft up, but he said they had another aircraft up. And there are several times you're seeing red dots from above. There's no way, red dots, laser sights, I got one myself. Actually, I got one on each of my rifles. And, laser dot, when you point it at something, if it hits it in the side, you'll get the dot. But you're not going to get a dot, dead center down. So there was apparently another aircraft up there, I'm assuming it was a helicopter or something, that was also shooting or at least targeting from an upward position. So
Right. Yeah, well, the girl, I don't know if you got to listen to hers or not, but the stuff that she said, you can walk through the videos and see, she was there.
yeah,
And she was talking about drawing the fire. And, Ryan was hit also. How was he hit?
yeah,
Ryan,
and that's Ryan Bundy, not Ryan Payne, folks.
Right. At what point was he hit? she said at never one point did anybody ever draw, anybody ever point. They did exactly what they said they were to do. There was never returned fire. And that's why when they had been firing, see, and when the boy hit the snow and jumped out, it's because they had been fired at.
Right.
He jumped out and his hands went up right away. He was not aggressive. He was not in a combat stance. He was not in any way a threat at that point.
Yeah, and after 2 weeks of talking to him every day, I think he was genuinely concerned about the fact there were women in the truck and not to like blow that damn truck up.
Right. And he says, and he would made the statement because she even made, if you're going to have to shoot somebody, shoot me. When he left the vehicle, that was a statement. He was screaming, "Don't shoot! There's women in the vehicle." He was trying to protect them. But she made that statement several times.
Right. And when we saw him jump out of the truck, he's in snow literally knee deep, which is hard to balance yourself anyway. And, I'll present my own conspiracy theory here, but I think there was a certain amount of this in which they shot him in the hip to make his hands go to his hip. This is just my opinion, and everybody might disagree with it. But if they had shot Eamon or Ryan and killed them, I really think it would be all-out war at this point because of so many people that follow and support what they're doing. LaBoy was a lesser figure, but he was more somebody that everybody seemed to like and gravitate towards. I really like the guy. We've done interviews with the guy and all this kind of stuff. And then all the rest of the people involved were, politically inconsequential. No reason to kill them. And it just kind of looks to me like this was a politically sanctioned killing. And I've also gotten word that I don't even know if I should say this, but somebody told me that they have verified sources that Obama signed off on taking them out. And we've also got some other verified sources that the sheriff at Grant County set up that meeting for exactly what we saw to go down.
Well, yeah, he did because they were, he was there. He invited them as a guest to come speak to a community in his county. He wasn't there waiting for him. If I was a sheriff, I'd be sitting there waiting for him to get there, and to greet them and to make them feel welcome in my county.
Right.
If I had that in mind, but obviously he was at the scene. He had a firearm. I believe it was a shotgun that I saw in a video that he had a shotgun out. He helped set and coordinate that.
Right. So he's complicit, and I think this was coordinated completely. Otherwise, there would not have been a drone already overhead, in my opinion.
Right. They'd already picked out the spot. If they would have taken them down at the original spot, if everybody would have complied, got out. But when you're sitting in your vehicle and also taking on fire, I think they wanted them to run. That justified their actions from the next, from that point on.
Right.
So, okay, yeah, well, he ran, Yeah, I'm pretty sure most people would run if they're trying to comply and also they start shooting at him. You're thinking, I'm either going to die here or I'm going to run until I can find some help. And,
right. Yeah, exactly. And who you going to call? There was no cell signal down there. So, you can't exactly call 911 like that would have done any good anyway, but still.
Well, they believed at that point that sheriff in the other town, next county over, was a friend because he had befriended them. He had, maybe they were running to him. Maybe they're going to, quick get to that location because that sheriff's going to protect us.
Right. And anybody that wants to go back through our videos, I have a situation report of a couple of days before, a day before maybe, in which I'm talking to the boy and he was actually discussing with me their meeting in Grant County and, just how everybody was being awesome and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, and, you know, the sad thing is I thought that they were getting ready to hit the compound. I saw a whole bunch of airplanes on FlightAware circling the county on the military, what is it, USCOM or something like that, circling the area. And I thought they were watching the compound. That apparently what it was is they were watching them and getting ready for this. So I don't know. This is just disgusting, Denny.
Yeah, and it's the whole thing's been not handled very well from the very start. You know, and that's why a lot of people didn't bail right in to accommodate the help and to be involved, is because of the way it was handled from the very start. And I feel bad that it came to this. I feel bad for LaVoy, his family, and I have a lot of close friends that were close friends with him. And I feel bad for them. But, you know, LaVoy felt like he was doing his part, what he needed to do to stand for what he believed in. I mean, the guy comes from a large family, a ranching family, a close family. And, you know, yeah, he could have stayed home and protected his family, but there's people that go beyond to do and follow for what their heart and what their beliefs are. And I think that's what he was doing. I don't think he was there. He never once talked about, you know, violence. He never once talked about being combative. He just was talking about, you know, a government doing the right thing. And it just turned out bad for him, and actually bad for all of America right now.
Yeah, it's kind of turned out bad for all of us. And, you know, my big fear right now is every person with a grievance and a gun is going to be headed that way, which is just going to make this look even worse for anybody trying to actually do anything for this movement. 3% has put out a call to action to bring people in to unarmed to demonstrate. Our reporter showed up today. We did our first short video just at the very beginning. It's the first demonstration they did. There wasn't a whole lot of people there. It was just kind of, they were outside the courthouse, but you know, keep an eye on that too as well, Denny. I'll send you the link to the YouTube channel. We will be able to keep her out there till Tuesday with the funding that I have. Anybody that can help us fund her to be there any longer, that's appreciated. Go to freedomslips.com. There's a button over there that says support. Click on that. And, you know, it's just time to, you know, I have never been one to call for armed revolution, and I'm not going to call for armed revolution, but, you know, voting doesn't work. You know, do you not agree?
No, we've got to see that firsthand.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, and the corruption runs so damn deep. It's like, how do you get it out? You know, people used to, I used to hear, you know, we see stories and movies and all that kind of stuff about government corruption in the 30s as if it just suddenly stopped. I think the government corruption is way deeper, and it goes right down into the local levels. You know, I got a pretty good sheriff here. He's a nice guy. I've talked to him. And all that. Yeah. Do you know Jimmy Clements?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. He is, and he's a neighbor of mine. I'm sorry, I lost his name, and I had to ask my wife. My wife is a former deputy and deputy jailer. I need to put that correctly. So. But you know, I think the dude's a good guy. And we've talked, and you know, and I told you the story last night when I got pissed off and took off on a tear, and he probably should have shot me or something. Instead, he took me to my mom's. So, you know,
that might have been worse.
yeah, it was way worse, actually. You know, my mom, the deputy can't beat your ass, but your mom can always beat your ass. I don't care how old you are. Anyway,
That's right. And nobody's going to step in either. So
yeah, right. All right, Denny, thanks for weighing in on this because, you know, it's always good to get, you know, everybody's take on this, and especially somebody who has experience in the things that you have, so we can understand, you know, what we're doing, what we're listening to, and what we're seeing. And, you know, here at Revolution Radio, we try not to make stuff up. You know, we try not to make the news. We just try to report the news. And I just want to say again, I appreciate it. And when you're ready to come over for dinner, you call me.
all right, I appreciate that.
All right. And
Looking forward to it.
you're taking me mushroom hunting this spring. You know that, right?
What's that?
You're taking me mushroom hunting this spring, right? You know that?
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Hell yeah. All right. I'll talk to you later, man.
All right, thank you.
All right. Bye. Thank you too. Bye. All right. Anyway, so that's this is me actually getting through a show without having a Tourette syndrome attack. I don't know. I've tried to call her, and I don't know if she's available. Give me a second, and I will give it a try. But Deb has been busy. I don't know if her phone's dead or she's been busy, or you know, she's been busy today. Pete Santilli's arraignment was today. I noticed they still nobody. Yeah, I've checked all these guys, and you know, they'll give murderers bail, but they won't give these guys bail, so they can't be bailed out of jail. Excuse me. I find that a little odd. Give me a second. Oh, I lost her that pass. Let's try it again.
I'm sorry, but the person you called has a voicemail box that has not been set up yet.
Hello?
Goodbye.
Hi, who am I speaking with?
Yeah, is this Deb?
Yes.
Hey, how you doing? This is Nighthawk. I just got done doing a video breakdown of what went, and we talked to Sheriff Denny Pyman and all that kind of stuff, and we wanted to kind of catch up with you as we've been trying to do each day. So can you give us any updates with the guys and Pete and all that kind of stuff?
Okay, well, we just got out of court about an hour ago,
Okay.
and they decided that Ammon Bundy was not going to get bail, nor Ryan Bundy, nor Ryan Payne, nor Buddha, which is Brian Cavalier,
Right.
nor but Joe O'Shaughnessy. They are going to let bail out on conditions, and Shauna Cox, she gets to bail out, and I guess what everybody wants to know is about Pete. So his attorney pled his case. You know, Pete was never in the refuge. He was never in the refuge spending the night, never carried a weapon, didn't bring weapons with him. It's clear, the evidence is clear that he only came to spend a couple of days and cover a rally, and then all this other stuff broke out, and he made the decision to stay and cover it. And of course, you know, he is alternative media. He's not beholden to be neutral. And they recognize alternative media in Oregon as being the same as mainstream media.
Right.
You don't have to have a press pass here. You can just come and report if that's what you call it. He said that Pete
Hey, Deb.
on many.
Hey, Deb, real
Yes.
quick. Yeah, I'm trying to title this. Your name's Deborah Jordan, right? I just want to make sure.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to title this right. Okay, go ahead.
So they, the prosecutor said, that Pete was very vocal in his support, and that, blah blah blah. And then I just want to get this right here. So then, his attorney said, well, this was about speech with him. Pete never carried a gun. He never, he was never spent the night at the refuge. He only went down when the media went down and into the encampment and spoke with people at the same time the media was speaking to them. Or when Hammond Bundy or somebody in there wanted to get a message out on video. He did that, as did mainstream media, and also that mainstream media actually had more access to Hammond Bundy than Pete did.
Right.
Which is the truth. And so the prosecutor said that they would be willing to let Pete go to a halfway house where he would be under strict conditions. And one of those conditions would be that he would not be allowed to produce the Pete Santilli show.
You gotta be kidding me.
I'm not.
Honestly, I gotta say, no matter how anybody feels about Pete Santilli, which we all know, that it is very battled one way or the other. But this isn't actually, that's an assault on me as well, because
It is an assault, and I've got to tell you this, even mainstream media here on the ground and court officers were saying it's total bullshit, that he shouldn't have been arrested in the first place, first of all, and then to be, for them to try to put those kind of conditions on him is just, it's over the top. And they don't want him to go back to Cincinnati because they fear that, that he won't be timely in his court appearances. However, his attorney said to them, Pete Santilli will, he's the kind of person, he will absolutely look forward to his day in court. He wouldn't miss it for the world, and that is the truth.
oh yeah, but again, that this is an assault on all media. This is an assault on alternative media at best. And like I said, before, I don't care what anybody says or does or does not like about Pete Santilli and his press. Excuse me, I'm getting excited now. This is an attack upon alternative press.
Well, let me say this again. In the state of Oregon, alternative media is on the same level as mainstream media. You do not have to have a press pass here to claim that you are media and that you are reporting on something. But alternative media is legitimate here.
Right.
It's on the same level.
Yeah, I watched a video earlier, I think it was Blue Hair, that was when they actually arrested Pete. And, and I'm looking at this and I'm going, excuse me, what the hell? And then they pointed a gun in that car. They pointed a rifle in that car.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, please don't point guns at us. And the dude goes, well, I pointed a gun at you. Bullshit. I saw that gun being pointed. Everybody in the video did.
Yes.
All right. Hey, listen, Deborah, are you staying in Oregon or are you going back?
I'm staying in Oregon. I'll be
Or
here on
not,
Tuesday
excuse me.
for his appeal.
All right. I'm sorry.
And
I'm sorry. I didn't mean, are you staying in Oregon? I said, are you staying in Portland or are you going back?
I'm going back to Burns tonight, and there's a reason for that. Our dogs are here
Okay.
in Burns. I have to go back and get my animals, and there is a rally on Monday.
Yes.
The people of Burns have asked for the support of the people of the United States to come there and stand with them and demand that the sheriff and the judge resign and that the FBI leave their county. Because what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Right. Well, let me
If they are going to demand that, outsiders leave their town, then they are going to demand some things of their own. So
Right.
this is going to happen on Monday. I'm not sure about the time yet, but they're asking people to come peacefully, no weapons. It is not a stand of any kind like that, but it is a rally and a show of support for the people of Burns, Oregon.
All right, let me ask you a question real quick. I got a reporter out there. She's already did some video today at the first. It wasn't huge, but it was the first. What do you gathering there in front of the courthouse. Would you be willing to work with her?
Of course, yes.
Because apparently I'm the only one. It appears that my supporters and all of us are the only people that care enough to put the money in to pay for her to be out there, and I need her to be as linked in as possible. So I'm going to give her your number, and she can give you a call.
Okay.
And at this point, I don't even care about, it's like everybody seems to have these radio station rivalries. I never do. Yeah, radio station.
Well, that's putting it mildly.
Yeah, and YouTube rivalries and all that kind of stuff. But at this point, that doesn't even matter to me.
Well, I should hope not. And anybody out there who has a beef with Pete Santilli because of their stupidity and their childishness and their maturity should know that this is a huge case. This is a case about your First Amendment rights, the freedom of press. Pete Santilli, I'm going to say it again, he is considered press here.
Right.
If this goes down and they get by with this, all right, they will get by. It will set the precedence for everyone else.
Right.
So
Exactly.
Stop listening to Vinny Eastwood, stop listening to Zabu 7, and get your shit together and really know what's happening here.
Right. At this point, Deb, I'm on your guys' side. I don't care what anybody says. I'm kind of fed into the Kool-Aid of everybody else at different times, but this is clearly.
Well, you know what? It's easy to do when you're not on the ground.
Yeah,
it's easy
I
to
know
do
that.
when all you have to do is sit at home, and you really, you know what? People get lulled into this false sense that they are putting their ass on the line when really they're not.
Exactly.
Nobody's looking at them. Nobody gives two shits what they have to say. And I'm sorry I'm cussing, but they don't. And the only way you find out who is who is by those people who actually go out in the field and put their ass on the line for something. And I'll dare the people in alternative media to look down on somebody like Pete Santilli, who is at least trying.
Or actually, Deb, any of us that are trying. Any of us that are trying. My health does not allow me to go wander around in the snow of Oregon, but I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm putting my money where my mouth is because my money works to get the people out there, and I agree with you, and I'm on your side. Well,
at least you have somebody on the ground here representing.
Yeah, there's. I can't. Nobody is there. Nobody is there. And I had some other organizations I was working with that were funding that just won't even talk to me now. Because they say it's over. It's over. It's all done, and we're not.
Oh, it's not. It's far from that.
Oh yeah,
It's far from over. After the rally, everybody, it needs to move to Portland. And if anybody out there cares about
Exactly.
alternative media and cares about independent media or mainstream media, you will get here and support Pete Santilli, whether you like him or not.
I think we need to support everybody, Deb.
Yes.
You know, we're looking at a gross injustice and the murder of a man.
Yes.
You know, I just got done. It's actually part of this video once I end it of a breakdown that I worked out, and you know, I've been spending all day working with people who are pointing out that were pointing out on things to me that I was missing. You know, of these shots fired and that shot fired and all that kind of stuff. And I went up and did a video breakdown. Yet again, I've watched that video so many times, and it just makes me shit. It just makes me sick. You know, LaBoy was a friend of mine. I talked to him every day for a couple of weeks, and it just makes me sick to look at it because it's like, you know, literally you're watching your friend getting shot in the back. And
Yes.
but you know, I went ahead and did it again. I had a law enforcement 25 years officer come on with me and gave his rendition of what he thought was seen. And you know, he even thinks that this was a planned political murder.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, what he sees.
A lot of people are saying that.
You know, if they had killed Eamon or Ryan Bundy, it would have been straight out war, right?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay, so if they killed Eamon or Ryan, it would have been straight out war.
It definitely would have made a much bigger ripple.
Right.
Definitely.
And the other people that were in the vehicles were kind of, you know, I don't want to make them sound bad, but, you know, they were kind of politically inconsequential. But LaBoy was the warm, nice guy that everybody gravitated towards, and he was the peaceful person. But yet, he was just the right guy for them to assassinate in order to scare the crap out of everybody and run them off. And I don't think the government really realizes you're not going to run off true patriots.
Yeah.
And this is just going to get weirder down the road. I'm going to give Sherry your number, and and she'll get in touch with you when.
What is Sherry's last name?
I can't. I will not say that on air. I'm sorry.
Okay. Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. I got you.
And we also have an interview with somebody on the inside tomorrow. I'm assuming, I hope they don't scare her off, that is going to explain the drug corruption going on in that government there.
There's plenty of that.
Yeah, and, you know, my biggest concern is, you know, we keep getting these people that want to tell their stories, and every time we do, they get scared off and they go, I'm afraid, I'm sorry, I can't talk about it. You know, it's like, I'll buy you a steak dinner if you tell me your story. I don't even care. You know, we have people that are funding this, but you know, that county is clearly by history very dangerous. It's like the Boss Hog County. Actually, the whole state is the Boss Hog County. So anyway, Deb, you know, thanks for getting with me. You know, whenever you see this number, it's me. And you know, at this point, I'm on your side. You know, I've never not been on your side, but you know, at this point, it's time for all the.
It's just, you know what? It's alien to me to even hear you say that. You know, that people are picking sides.
Yeah, people are picking sides, and it's kind of ridiculous.
That's good.
And
Let them pick them. I hope they pick a winner.
And
I hope they pick the side of the government and go for it. I
Right.
do.
you know, it's just time for all the alternative media to either get together or get off.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Imagine that.
all right. Listen, you take care of yourself. I'll give Sherry your number, and she'll call you. From there, it'll be a 208 area code. That's all I can tell you on air.
Okay, that sounds terrific. I'll wait for her call.
All right. Thank you very much.
But let her know I'm going through the mountains right now and I'm getting ready to lose any kind of reception. So.
Oh, that's cool. She'll probably call you in the morning.
All right, sounds
Anyway.
great. I'll talk to her then. All right, thank you, sir.
All right. Peace out. Talk to you tomorrow.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So there you got that. So the only person that got out of this entire thing who released a video that at this point, after the FBI video, we know is literally 100% bullshit and lies. Kind of shows that now we know who the FBI guy was. I was told yesterday he was former Marine and squared away. I don't know what the fuck that means. Honestly, I really don't. Sorry, excuse my language. I'm trying not to get Tourette's here. But that account he gave on YouTube in that video, YouTube that has been put out on, or he did it on a Facebook video. And it's all over YouTube. Some dude named McDonald or McConnell, I don't know. Does it even matter? Was a complete and total fabrication. And then after doing a checkup with people I know who can check stuff,
had like
that was a complete and total fabrication. All right, give me a second. All right, now this is the eyewitness account from Victoria. You saw the video. Now we're just going to run the eyewitness account. And if you looked at the video, this is pretty accurate.
they're like, turn out the car and put your head out the window and all this stuff. He's like, he put his hands out the window so they could see he didn't have a gun. He's like, but I'm not. He's like, I'm not. He's like, we're going to talk to the sheriff right now. He's like, you guys can follow us there, that's fine. He's like, but we're talking to the sheriff. He said, either you can put a bullet through my head right now and get it over with, or we're going to talk to the sheriff. And they were like, no. And so then they're like stepping it up, and a bunch more guys are coming out, and they're all pulling their guns out. And they were like, we have women in the car. We have, because there's me and this other lady in the car that I don't know real well. But we have women in the car. They said, get the women out of the car. Get the women out of the car. And they're saying they're going to shoot. And Ryan Payne was like, he was in the front seat. Ryan Payne is amazing. He is incredible. But anyhow, so he was like, he said he put his hands out the window because he was trying to talk to them. He's like, if he wanted the guy to just, he was like, I don't know if it's worth it. He's like, so he put his hands out the window and he said, we have women in the car, at least let the women get out. And he stuck his head out and they shot at him, but they missed him, or like he ducked just in time. So they didn't hit him. And then they're like, oh, they mean business. They're going to shoot us. And so Ryan decided to get out of the car and try to go talk to them. And so he gets out of the car, and then the guy tried to like talk to them. The driver was like, I'm just going to drive. So I'm just going to talk to the sheriff. And he's like, so either shoot me now or leave us alone. And they were just like, turn the car off and put your hands up. Oh, so finally, he decided to just drive. So we all got down on the floorboard, and he took off, and then they started firing at us. They started shooting us a bunch of times, and then they had a roadblock set up, and so he ran into a snowbank, and they were like riddling the car with bullets. And then they, like, when we crashed, they stopped for a second. He got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, unless, he's like, just shoot me then. Just you want to shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead. They shot him, like, right there, because he was just walking with his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times. And then they bombarded our vehicle with bullets flying. I hit the shoulder. We were laying there on the floorboard screaming, and they gassed us like 5 times, and they kept trying to shoot us, and their angle was bad, so I don't know, we were praying like so hard, and we were screaming like, stop, please stop, please stop, and they were just riddling us with bullets. They kept gassing us over and over, and we couldn't breathe because of the gas. And we were trying to find something white so that we could put a white flag out. And then I was trying to see, because Ryan knew he had got hit in the shoulder. So he was like, well, I don't think it's too bad, though. So we were just trying to find a way to get out there. And then they, hold on one second. I'm waiting for them to call me back.
Listen, Victoria, I recorded your testimony.
Oh, okay.
All right, because if anything happens to you, I think it's really important to have that.
All right.
Okay, so let's just get this clear. Mr. Finicum's hands were in the air when he was shot.
Yes.
Was he
We saw him face up. I mean, his hands were still up after he was dead.
Okay, they shot him and he went down, then they shot him again on the ground?
Yeah, they shot him like at least 6 times.
The newspaper reports are just saying that 3 shots were fired, but that's not true.
No, are you kidding me? They shot at least 120 shots probably altogether.
Okay.
They were shooting the car. It was like a lot.
What side of the windows were the windows blown out on, the left or the right side?
Left.
Left side, okay. And
They kept hitting the right. They kept hitting the right side of the car too, but they didn't blow. Like the windows didn't come out. Like they were hitting the metal instead of the glass.
okay. And so not one shot was fired by anybody in the car or by a Lavoie?
No one even touched their gun.
No one touched their gun?
No one pulled their gun out. No one touched the gun. We had no rifles. A couple of the guys had sidearms on, but no one touched them. In fact, they had their hands out the windows to show that they were not firing. They were nothing.
Okay, so
We showed no aggression at all.
when Ryan Bundy was shot, both his hands were out the window and his head was out the window?
No, at the time he was on the floor of the car because that was when they were shooting at our vehicle. We couldn't get out of the car or we would have been dead.
Right, okay. And so how many police vehicles or how many vehicles would you say were involved in this encounter? FBI vehicles, etc.
I didn't count. I was really shooken up when they got out. But we all noted that there was like a ton of vehicles. There were, I don't know, maybe 40 altogether.
Okay.
There was tons. And there were people in the trees. Like it was an ambush. It was a set-up ambush or something because there was like people in the trees, FBI snipers and people in the trees because we saw them. They're all pointing their, like I had like 20 lasers on me when I was getting out of the car.
Okay. So Lloyd got out of the driver's seat and he
Well, when he crashed into the snowbank, then he immediately got out of the car. He had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then because he didn't want to go. He didn't want to go down. He didn't want to. But he did not. He just had his hands in the air. He's like, are you just going to shoot me? And then they just shot him.
And how many shots would you say that were fired when they shot him the first time?
The he
Well,
was shot.
when they shot him, did you hear multiple rounds?
Yeah, I did. He got hit by several people. Like, it was like simultaneous, and we were like, what? We couldn't believe it. It shocked us because he had his hands in the air. We couldn't believe that they were actually going to shoot him. And we were like, what? Is he dead? Is he dead? And then I was like, because we knew that he had gotten shot, we couldn't hear him, and I was like, then I screamed, I mean, I'm too late, come out and help him, I just want to help him. And then they started firing at the car, the vehicle again, and then they wouldn't let us out. And, oh, it was so scary.
About how long would you say they fired at the car before they finally stopped?
Somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes.
Victoria, we're going to be
Yeah.
praying for you, okay? And
All right.
you know, I have this recorded because I fear for your life. I feel like if you were one of the few people, you're not under arrest, but you were a witness, a direct eyewitness to what happened. So I wanted to get this down, and I wanted to document this as well as I could. Who was driving so Lavoie was driving the car, and Ryan was in the front seat?
No, Ryan Payne, who was in the front seat, but during the incident, he got out when they first stopped us. He stopped in the middle of the road and told them, we're going to talk to the sheriff, he said. And then when they fired the first shot, it was actually at that point, Ryan Payne had both his hands out the window on his head, and then they shot at him.
That was the first shot.
That was the first shot.
Okay, so
And that's when they knew that's when we knew that they were meant business, that they were serious, and that I'm talking to someone in Michigan that Ada was with. They're kind of recording this just in case. So that was the first shot, and then he ended up getting out of the car because they stopped shooting. He got out of the car, and then after we started driving again, they shot. That's when they started shooting at us again. So, but we had lasers on us the whole time. They were ready to shoot.
okay, so Ryan got out of the car. Did he ever get back in the car before he took off?
No, he was arrested, or he was taken into custody at least. I don't know if he was arrested because all of us were taken into custody, and he was with us. Like, we all got transported together, and then they separated all of us.
And that's Ryan Payne you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, and where was Ryan Bundy?
He was in the back seat of the car beside me. I was actually, I had fallen asleep on him. I had fallen asleep on him right when we got pulled over. I was asleep, and then I woke up when the whole thing started going down.
So
He
you
was
were
sitting to the left of me.
okay. So you were in the middle,
Yes.
and then the other
Shauna
lady.
Cox on my right.
Who was?
Shauna Cox.
Shauna Cox on your right, Ryan Bundy on your left, and you were headed to go see the sheriff.
We were going to this meeting that was going on, so all of us just were going to sing, and the sheriff was going to be there, and a bunch of ranchers. We were just going to try to talk and maybe do some negotiations, and we were going to sing. And so that was all, and then we were ambushed. I mean, it was known that we were going to go, so they probably just decided to choose that area maybe because it was really wooded and everything, and we didn't have any phone service. So.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I'm going to be up if you want to call me at any time during this, okay? Because I can't do much. I can pray for you guys, but I can also try to document as best as possible to make sure that the story is not, because right now the media is reporting that 3 shots were fired.
No, that's a total lie.
Okay.
Of course, the media is going to report that, but
Right. Well,
are you kidding me? Have you seen the car? Have you seen the vehicle?
No.
It's completely covered with gunshots.
well, no, they're not going to release that because they don't want
And he's
necessarily.
probably got 6 holes in him himself.
Okay. Well, I'm just telling you. So Now let me ask you this: do you want this story to get out?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop the recording and I'm gonna see how well it's turning out. I want to be able to determine if I can hear you clearly and determine, and I mean I am willing to try to get this out there to any media outlet that I possibly can. Independent media, but I need to know, so is your family back at the refuge?
No, they're not. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Someone's calling me.
All right. Go ahead and
Uh-huh.
answer.
Oh, I need to
All
let you go.
right. Bye-bye.
I think that's my mom.
Call me back.
All right, bye. All of us had like a laser on us. They're like, turn out the car and put your head out the window and all this stuff. He's like, he put his hands out the window so they could see he didn't have a gun. He's like, but I'm not. He's like, I'm not. He's like, we're going to talk to the sheriff right now. He's like, you guys can follow us there, that's fine. He's like, but we're talking to the sheriff. He said, either you can put a bullet through my head right now and get it over with, or we're going to talk to the sheriff. And they were like, no. And so then they're like stepping it up, and a bunch more guys are coming out, and they're all pulling their guns out. And they were like, we have women in the car. We have, because it was me and this other lady in the car that I don't know real well. But we have women in the car. They said, get the women out of the car. Get the women out of the car. And they're saying they're going to shoot. And Ryan Payne was like, he was in the front seat. Ryan Payne is amazing. He is incredible. But anyhow, so he was like, he said he put his hands out the window because he was trying to talk to them. He's like, if he wanted the guy to just, he's like, I don't know if it's worth it. He's like, so he put his hands out the window and he said, we have women in the car, at least let the women get out. And he stuck his head out and they shot at him, but they missed him, or like he talked just in time. So they didn't hit him. And then they're like, oh, they mean business. They're going to shoot us. And so Ryan decided to get out of the car and try to go talk to them. And so he gets out of the car, and then the guy tried to like talk to them. The driver was like, I'm just going to drive. He's like, I'm just going to talk to the sheriff. And he's like, so either shoot me now or leave us alone. And they were just like, turn the car off and put your hands up and all that. So finally, he decided to just drive. So we all got down on the floorboard, and he took off, and then they started firing at us. They started shooting us a bunch of times, and then they had a roadblock set up, and so he ran into a snowbank, and they were like riddling the car with bullets. And then they, like when we crashed, they stopped for a second. He got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, and rest. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, to shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead. They shot him like right there because he was just walking with his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God, he was just walking with his hands in the air, and they shot him. And they shot him dead. And then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times. And then they bombarded our vehicle with bullets. Ryan got hit in the shoulder. We were laying there on the floorboard screaming, and they gassed us like 5 times, and they kept trying to shoot us, and their angle was bad, so I don't know, we were praying like so hard, and we were screaming like, stop, please stop, please stop, and they were just riddling us with bullets. They kept gassing us over and over, and we couldn't breathe because of the gas, and we were trying to find something white so that we could put a white flag out, and then I was trying to see, because Ryan knew he got hit in the shoulder, and so he was like, well, I don't think it's too bad, though. So so we were just trying to find a way to get out there, and then they, hold on one second. I'm waiting for them to call me back.
Listen, Victoria, I recorded your testimony.
Oh, okay.
All right, because if anything happens to you, I think it's really important to have that.
All right.
Okay, so let's just get this clear. Mr. Finicum's hands or Finicum hands were in the air when he was shot.
Yes.
Was he
We saw him face up. I mean, his hands were still up after he was dead.
Okay, they shot him and he went down, then they shot him again on the ground?
Yeah, they shot him like at least 6 times.
The newspaper reports are just saying that 3 shots were fired, but that's not true.
No, are you kidding me? They shot at least 120 shots probably altogether.
Okay.
They were shooting the car, like a lot.
What side of the windows were the windows blown out on, the left or the right side?
Left.
Left side, okay. And
They kept hitting the right. They kept hitting the right side of the car too, but they didn't blow. Like the windows didn't come out. Like they were hitting the metal instead of the glass.
okay. And so not one shot was fired by anybody in the car or by a Lavoie?
No one even touched their gun.
No one touched their gun?
No one pulled their gun out. No one touched the gun. We had no rifles. A couple of the guys had sidearms on, but no one touched them. In fact, they had their hands out the windows to show that they were not firing. They weren't nothing.
Okay, so
Nothing was.
when
We showed no aggression at all.
when Ryan Bundy was shot, both his hands were out the window and his head was out the window?
No, at the time he was on the floor of the car because that was when they were shooting at our vehicle. We couldn't get out of the car or we would have been dead.
Right, okay. And so how many police vehicles or how many vehicles would you say were involved in this encounter? FBI vehicles, etc.
I didn't count. I was really shooken up when they got out. But we all noted that there were like a ton of vehicles. There were, I don't know, maybe 40 altogether.
Okay.
There was tons, and there were people in the trees. Like it was an ambush. It was a set-up ambush or something because there was like people in the trees, FBI snipers, and people in the trees because we saw them. They're all pointing their. Like I had like 20 lasers on me when I was getting out of the car.
Okay. So Lloyd got out of the driver's seat and he
Well, when he crashed into the snowbank, then he immediately got out of the car. He had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then, because he didn't want to go. He didn't want to go down. He didn't want to. But he did not. He just had his hands in the air. He's like, are you just going to shoot me? And then they just shot him.
And how many shots would you say that were fired when they shot him the first time?
The first time that he was shot.
When they shot him, did you hear multiple rounds?
Yes, I did. He got hit by several people. Like, it was like simultaneous, and we were like, what? Because we couldn't believe it. It shocked us because he had his hands in the air. We couldn't believe that they were actually going to shoot him. And we were like, what? Is he dead? Is he dead? And then I was like, because we knew that he had gotten shot, we couldn't hear him, and I was like, then I screamed, I'm in him too, like, come out and help him, I just want to help him. And then he started firing at the car, the vehicle again, and then they wouldn't let us out. And, it was so scary.
About how long would you say they fired at the car before they finally stopped?
Somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes.
Victoria, we're going to be praying for you, okay? And
right.
you know, I have this recorded because I fear for your life. I feel like if you were one of the few people, you're not under arrest, but you were a witness, a direct eyewitness to what happened. So I wanted to get this down, and I wanted to document this as well as I could. Who was driving so Lavoie was driving the car, and Ryan was in the front seat?
No, Ryan Payne, who was in the front seat, but during the incident, he got out. When they first stopped us, he stopped in the middle of the road and told them, we're going to talk to the sheriff, he said. And then when they fired the first shot, it was actually at that point, Ryan Payne had both his hands out the window on his head, and then they shot at him.
That was the first shot?
That was the first shot.
Okay, so...
And that's when they knew that's when we knew that they meant business, that they were serious. And that I in Michigan that I live with. They're kind of recording this just in case. So that was the first shot, and then he ended up getting out of the car because they stopped shooting. He got out of the car, and then after we started driving again, that's when they shot. That's when they started shooting at us again. So, but we had lasers on us the whole time. They were ready to shoot.
Okay, so Ryan got out of the car. Did he ever get back in the car before he took off?
No, he was arrested, or he was taken into custody at least. I don't know if he was arrested because all of us were taken into custody, and he was with us. Like, we all got transported together, and then they separated all of us.
And that's Ryan Payne you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, and where was Ryan Bundy?
He was in the back seat of the car beside me. I was actually, I had fallen asleep on him. I had fallen asleep on him right when we got pulled over. I was asleep, and then I woke up when the whole thing started going down.
So
He
you
was
were
sitting to the left of me.
okay. So you were in the middle,
Yes.
and then the other lady.
Cox on my right.
Who was?
Shauna Cox.
Shauna Cox on your right, Ryan Bundy on your left, and you were headed to go see the sheriff.
We were going to this meeting that was going on, so all of us sheriffs were going to sing, and the sheriff was going to be there, and a bunch of ranchers. We were just going to try to talk and maybe do some negotiations, and we were going to sing. And so that was all, and then we were ambushed. I mean, it was known that we were going to go, so they probably just decided to choose that area maybe because it was really wooded and everything, and we didn't have any phone service. So.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I'm going to be up if you want to call me at any time during this, okay? Because I can't do much. I can pray for you guys, but I can also try to document as best as possible to make sure that the story is not, because right now the media is reporting that 3 shots were fired.
Oh, no, that's a total lie.
Okay.
Of course, the media is going to report that, but...
Right. Well...
Are you kidding me? Have you seen the car? Have you seen the vehicle?
No.
It's completely covered with gunshots.
Well, no, they're not going to release that because they don't want
And
necessarily...
he's probably got 6 holes in him himself.
Okay. Well, I'm just telling you. So now let me ask you this. Do you want this story to get out?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm gonna stop the recording and I'm gonna see how well it's turning out. I want to be able to determine if I can hear you clearly and determine, and I mean, I am willing to try to get this out there to any media outlet that I possibly can. Independent media, but I need to know, so is your family back at the refuge?
No, they're not. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Someone's calling me.
All right. Go ahead and answer.
Oh, I need to let
All right.
you go.
Bye-bye. Call me back.
All right, bye.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? This is Mark Connors on American Media News. The Connors Report coming to you live from Burbank Studios in Los Angeles, California. Guys, I'm going to play you a video here that is going to be pretty interesting. I want you to listen up. Probably shouldn't have any children around at this time, but guys, I want you to take a listen to this. You ready?
It had like a laser on it. They're like, turn out the car and put your head out the window, all this stuff. He's like, he put his hand up like this so they could see he didn't have a gun. He's like, but I'm not. He's like, I'm not. He's like, we're going to talk to the sheriff right now. He's like, you can follow us there, that's fine. He's like, but we're talking to the sheriff. He said, so either you can put a bullet through my head right now and get it over with, or we're going to talk to the sheriff. And we were like, no. And so then they're like stepping it up, and a bunch more guys are coming out, and they're all pulling their guns out. And they were like, we have women in the car. We have... Because it was me and this other lady in the car that I don't know real well. But there was women in the car. They said, "Get the women out of the car! Get the women out of the car!" And they were saying they're going to shoot. And Ryan Payne was like, he was in the front seat. Ryan Payne is amazing. He is incredible. But anyhow, so he was like, he said he put his hands out the window because he was trying to talk to them. He was like, he wanted the guy to just. He's like, I don't know if it's worth it. He's like, so he put his hands out the window and he said, "We have women in the car. At least let the women get out." And he stuck his hand out and they shot at him, but they missed him, or like he ducked just in time. So they didn't hit him. And then they're like, "Oh, they mean business. They're going to shoot us." And so Ryan decided to get out of the car and try to go talk to them. And so he gets out of the car, and then the guy tried to like talk to them. The driver was like, "I'm just going to drive. So I'm just going to talk to the sheriff." And he's like, "So either shoot me now or leave us alone." And they were just like, "Turn the car off and put your hands up on it." So finally, he decided to just drive. So we all got down on the floorboard, and he took off. And then they started firing at us. They started shooting us a bunch of times, and then they had a roadblock set up. And so he ran into a snowbank, and they were like riddling the car with bullets. And then they, like when we crashed, they stopped for a second. He got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, "Unless," he's like, "just shoot me then. This is what you want, to shoot me." And they did. They shot him dead. They shot him like right there because he was just walking with his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God, he was just walking with his hands in the air, and they shot him. And they shot him dead. And then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times. And then they bombarded our vehicle with bullets. Ryan got hit in the shoulder. We were laying there on the floorboard screaming, and they gassed us like 5 times, and they kept trying to shoot us. And their angle was bad, so I don't know. We were praying like so hard, and we were screaming like, "Stop, please, stop, please, stop!" And they were just riddling us with bullets. They kept gassing us over and over, and we couldn't breathe because of the gas. And we were trying to find something white so that we could put a white flag out. And then I was trying to see, because Ryan knew he got hit in the shoulder. So he was like, "Well, I don't think it's too bad, though." So so we were just trying to find a way to get out there. And then they, hold on a second. I'm waiting for them to call me back.
Okay, you guys.
Listen, Victoria, I recorded your testimony.
Oh, okay.
All right, because if anything happens to you, I think it's really important to have that.
All right.
Okay, so let's just get this clear. Mr. Finnecum's hands were in the air when he was shot.
Yes.
Was he
We saw him face up. I mean, his hands were still up after he was dead.
Okay, they shot him and he went down, then they shot him again on the ground?
Yeah, they shot him like at least 6 times.
The newspaper reports are just saying that.
All right, sorry, that got caught in a loop. It's like over and over and over again. I played the video, put everything else up, did my own video investigation. I'm sure I missed a whole bunch of shit that other people caught. I did disable the YouTube chat while we were doing this bit for a time anyway, because the only people that were actually in the chat were works. It didn't even make sense. Half of it didn't make any sense. But we'll be back in the morning. You know, as you have heard, we talked to Sheriff Denny Simon, talked to Deb Jordan, Pete Santilli's girlfriend. Kind of went from there and went through all this. I hope everybody gets that this is the new America. without me having to put up yet again I'm just not going to do it again. I looked at it too many times. It's too upsetting, and it just puts me in Captain Tourette's mode. So, I'm just not going to go over that video again. I can't. Just can't. So, anyway, thanks for tuning in tonight. We'll be back tomorrow with live footage from Oregon. So, thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be blowing out the 60-second buffer so you don't lose all this, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much. freedomslips.com. If you want to support keeping our reporter out there, you can go over to freedomslips.com and click the support button. That'll show you how to make a donation just to help us keep reporter out there. Thank you very much. Good night.